In order, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. We have a few items of routine nature. I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second that.
Motion second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Item 2, citizens' questions or comments on agenda items only. Anyone have questions or comments on agenda items today? Anyone online? Item 3, HR Department.
Commissioners, Paul Van Dyke, Human Resources.
Paul.
I'm here to ask the board to approve payment for the county's major insurance policies, accepting the workers' compensation insurance policy, which has already been approved. So this is for CIS property insurance, CIS cyber liability insurance, CIS crime insurance. The total and to approve payment to OPEB, which has connections to CIS but isn't CIS, for excess liability insurance. Excess liability insurance is $133,750 for this year. All of the insurance together totals $640,184.82. So as Commissioner Kress at least is aware, there's a very substantial increase in the property insurance premium yet again this year, notwithstanding the county's transition to CIS from APIP last year. The increase was in the neighborhood of 27%. However, that increase has been trimmed by removing low-value properties and certain very expensive properties to replace from the schedule. So the increase in property insurance as a result of those actions has been limited to about $30,000 last year's rate. But that's the place. That's the form of insurance for which there's a substantial increase. The rest of the insurance remained relatively flat in terms of the premiums.
To authorize payment.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Just thank Paul for all the work on this, the amount of iterations it takes to get this right, to go through all this, it certainly would give a normal person a heck of a migraine, so I'm glad you got her done.
You're welcome. As you're well aware, there are other people involved in it, including yourself, but thank you.
And call for the question. Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Item 4, IT Department. Good morning.
Good morning. Nancy Laney, IT Radio Department here. Before you, we have a lease agreement. It is an agreement between Douglas County and Southwest Oregon Repeater Association, also known as SWORA, for the county. And this is to install and maintain wireless communications at the Winchester Hill facility, which is owned by SWORA, and also to allow them to install their communications on our tower at Romano's facility. There's no revenues, and there is a slight cost to the county, which is $75 per month.
We'll move to approve the lease agreement.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Item 5, the Land Department.
Morning, Commissioners. Tony Page, Land Department. What you have before you is an agreement for a permanent sewer line easement granting to Roseburg Urban Sanitary Authority, RUSA, a perpetual easement for sewer line upgrades that's needed for Douglas County buildings. But the location is the north side of the Justice Building and to the west of the parking lot in the back. So I ask that you grant the easement.
We'll move to approve the easement agreement.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
This is more for Dave in the back or whoever's gonna coordinate with them when they do their work. There's gonna be a substantial impact to several departments when they have that area tore up. So let's make sure we kind of plan out how that's all gonna work.
supposed to backfill immediately as soon as they do the work, and they're supposed to do the work fairly quickly, so should be off to the side. Be minimal impact from what I was told, but Dave will be on top of that.
It goes right in front of where the law enforcement guys park their cars to respond. So, other than that, it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
So, I'm sure they'll work it out.
Right.
Thank you.
Right, thank you, with you.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? Call for the question, Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well, motion passes. Item 6, Land Department.
Tony Page Land Department, this is a bargain and sale deed back to Peter A. Shoemaker and Jerry A. Rao. This is for Douglas County to sell back a tax foreclosed parcel we foreclosed on a few months ago to the record owner, which is the former owner of the property located at 1842 Green Siding Road, Roseburg. The sale is pursuant to ORS 275-180, and the dollar amount of the sale is $10,040.07, which includes back taxes and interest that's due. I ask that you approve this deed.
To approve the bargain sale deed.
Second that?
We have a motion and a second. Questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question, Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well, motion passes. Thank you. Item 7 is a Parks Department, and it's a lease termination agreement. This is to change the leasing entity at the commercial building on Umpqua Dunes. I'll move to approve the lease termination agreement.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well, motion passes. Item 8 is the reassignment of the lease to the new entity. I move to approve.
I'll second that.
A motion and second. Questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well, motion passes. Item 9 is Parks Department contract. This is a contract between the county and Morello Construction. That the company that actually won the bid for both phases of the rehab at Umpqua Dunes. They'll be doing the Stanton Park Rehabilitation Project also. After submitting the lowest responsive bid, I'll move to approve the contract.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well, motion passes. Item 10 is a Planning Department public hearing. Good morning, Joshua.
Good morning, Joshua Shackley, Douglas County Planning. Before you this morning is a hearing and order incorporating territory for an owner-initiated annexation of property into Oakland Rural Fire District for property located at 11937 Elkhead Road in Oakland. Chief petitioners are Logan Bromfield and Timothy Rodolph. Subject property consists of 80 acres of vacant land and is zoned farm forest. Staff has reviewed and found the annexation to be in compliance with our comp plan and statewide planning goals, and there are no known objectors to this time.
I'll open a public hearing, ask for any testimony on the annexation. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Pleasure of the board.
We'll move to approve the annexation and the order incorporating the territory.
And I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Item 11, another public hearing.
Good morning again, Joshua Shackley, Douglas County Planning. Before you this morning is a public hearing to consider a request from Central Douglas Fire and Rescue to subcontract with Winston Dillard Fire District to provide staffing in support of ambulance service areas number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, and number 7. CDF&R is the current franchise holder for all of these ASAs. The request was properly submitted, signed by all the required parties, and meets the standards for the ASA ordinance. And we found that Winston Dillard Fire District appears to be qualified to provide the proposed services. I can answer any questions, otherwise we should open the public hearing.
I'll open a public hearing. Anyone wishing to testify on the request? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. The pleasure of the board.
Assuming the motion is to grant the request, I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to grant the request. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Item 12, Public Works.
Good morning, Commissioners. Scott Adams, Public Works. Item number 12 is a change order to the Winchester Bay Sewer and Water Improvements Project 11112. This change order adds a water meter, gate valve, additional material to tie in existing water lines, as well as about 430 feet of 4-inch sanitary force main due to some unknown factors that were in place out in the field when we dug that system up. This change order increases the contract amount by $65,717.25. Brings the total project cost to $2,495,460.39.
I will move to approve the change order.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Thank you. Item 13 is the Sheriff's Office contract. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Hanlon, Sheriff. This item before you this morning is contract number 30002290 between Douglas County Sheriff's Office and Wireworks LLC for the fitting of 8 patrol interceptor SUVs using the City of Gresham contract number 310871 for a total amount of $135,271.58.
Move to approve the contract.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Item 14, also the Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, item 14 is an agreement amendment. It's the 4th amendment to agreement number 31106 between Douglas County and Trinity Services Group Incorporated. Trinity Service Group is the business that prepares meals for adults in custody in the Douglas County Jail. It includes a 4% CPI increase that has been budgeted for the fiscal year 2025.
I'll move to approve the amendment to the agreement.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Call for the question. Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Item 15, Sheriff's contract.
Item 15 is a contract agreement between Douglas County and WebLEDs for software support and maintenance. This software is the Sheriff's Office connection to the law enforcement data system, also known as LEDs, and the National Crime Information Center, NCIC. These are both databases that we rely on to receive information about vehicle registrations, driver's licenses, stolen property, stolen or wants and warrants on individuals. The contract is for $3,704.69 for fiscal year 24 and allows for a 3% increase in price each year upon renewal for the next 6 years.
To approve the contract agreement.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Call for the question. Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. And item 16, communication service agreement.
Yeah, item 16 is a communication service agreement for fiscal year 25 for dispatch services and radio service agreements with Elkton Rural Fire for both dispatch and radio, for Glendale Ambulance for both dispatch and radio, for the Oregon Department of Corrections for both dispatch and radio, and for the City of Sutherland for dispatch and radio.
I'll move to approve the communication service agreement.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve all the agreements. Any questions or comments? Call for the question, Commissioner Kress.
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well, motion passes. I have one, thanks Sheriff.
Thank you.
I have one off agenda item. This came to us yesterday as a request. It is to try to finally put to bed the issue of the folks who had fire losses related to the Archie Creek fire. This is for a bill that's trying to move its way through the United States Congress on the Senate side. There was a House resolution passed by the House side to exempt the awards from fire losses for the Archie Creek fire folks from federal income tax. And that resolution has been held up on the Senate side due to some normal politics. This is a letter encouraging Senator Wyden to take up that bill in his committee and pass it just solely on its own without trying to attach it to other political issues to get that situation resolved. Move to approve the letter of support.
I'll second that.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question, Commissioner Kress.
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well, motion passes. And last item on the agenda is commissioner comments.
Nothing from you?
So maybe just a quick, and I mean very quick fire report. So as everybody probably knows, almost a month ago, we had a big lightning storm blow through and start fires all over the county. Most of the fires were tackled in the first few hours and first few days and put out. However, there was a series of fires on the Umpqua National Forest that exceeded the capacity of the firefighters to get put out immediately and have since turned into 3 separate complex fires. When they do a complex, that means there's multiple fires that a fire team is managing in a certain area. So there's one called the Cottage Grove Complex, which is most of that fire is in Lane County. Part of it comes down into Douglas County. It's on the Umpqua National Forest. The Homestead Fire, the camp for that is just out of Glide, but most of the fires up the river a little bit, it's east of the Archie Creek fire footprint. And the Diamond Complex Fire, which is being managed out of a fire camp up at Diamond Lake. The good news is, with technology as it is, I'm able to attend many of the briefings and cooperator meetings remotely, which has been really helpful. I've been to, I can't tell you how many of the meetings in person, but quite a few. But the beauty of technologies they're doing, like the cooperator meeting, they do all 3 of the complexes together, although today their lane's gonna have a different one, the Cottage Grove one's gonna have a different time. But so all that was sort of getting into a regular routine. We felt like we were supporting the fires well, the sheriff's office working well with them, Public Works and everybody else. And then last Saturday, things changed dramatically. We had a fire that started up in the Tiller area early afternoon. By 4:30, the fire was raging. Many people from here in Roseburg could see the column. It was a little bit, reminded a lot of us of the Stouts Creek column that started a few years back, and it was really going. I want to first really compliment and thank some of the initial first responders that got up there and saved a bunch of homes. So first, and we never really think about this, a lot of the firefighting initially and continues to be done by the residents that live there. Those people with their logging equipment, farming equipment, just equipment that they have ready, the work they've done ahead of time to be prepared for fire, in many cases saves their home before the firefighters even have a chance to respond. And they've done an amazing job up there. They're still up there working hard today. So the residents and the citizens of that community should be congratulated on the amazing work they've done to save many of the homes, almost all the homes up there. So Tiller Fire was the first responder. They're the closest. By the time the sheriff and I got up there, and I made a list, and I know I'm gonna leave some out, I hate making lists, but Tiller Fire, Milo Fire, Days Creek Fire, Central Douglas Fire, Riddle Fire, DFPA, US Forest Service, BLM, then of course the sheriff's office. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about the sheriff's office, cause I know that world the best, because of course I go up with the sheriff. So not only does our sheriff respond himself, and sometimes drags me along, but Lieutenant Brad Odell was there first. They were both at the fair, working the sheriff's booth at the fair and helping the security at the fair. So the sheriff immediately sent Brad up there to start looking at the evacuation needs and concerns and keeping the public safe. By the time we got there, Brad had established evacuations and had sort of connected with the DFPA, who was sort of organizing that along with Chief Bullock from the structural side, and had a plan to keep the public safe. We had search and rescue volunteers up there helping with evacuations, and the sheriff, sort of in his amazing way of bringing everybody together, even brought the animal control officer that he happened to see in Canyonville as we're driving by, and got him to come up and help. And once again, some of you have seen the news press releases. There was one residence that was lost, but it was unoccupied. From what we can tell, nobody was living there. So the rest of the residents so far have been able to be saved. There's still a tremendous amount of firefighting going on. Eventually, a fire management team came in along with the state fire marshal team and task force to help secure the structures. I'm cautiously optimistic. There's a great firefighting work going on up there. What we often hear the public get frustrated with how quick fires get put out or how quick they don't get put out. In this situation, everything I've seen, everybody's doing everything they can. That first night, the amount of aerial assets that were assigned to the fire, including at least 5 helicopters. The sheriff and I were in a place to watch 5 helicopters there circle around and make bucket drops. And the complete time to pick the water up, to drop it and be back picking up the water was about 5 minutes. So with 5 of them, you can imagine every minute there's a bucket getting dropped somewhere. And it was just amazing to watch. And then they had at least 2 large fire retardant tankers, and those folks worked way into the night. I honestly thought they had to stop earlier than they did because it was getting dark, but they had all their lights on, the aircraft landing lights. It's the first time I've seen those guys do that work that late into the night, and they worked hard that first night. And then the next day, again, the local responders on Sunday continued to have the fire. The structural team was in briefed at 10:30 on Sunday, 10:30 in the morning, and they immediately assigned their task force and went to saving structures and homes and fighting fire. The actual Oregon Department of Forestry team was in briefed at 4:30. They shadowed the rest of that shift, so the local guys did all the day shift on Sunday and all the night shift, and then the team took over Monday morning at 6 in the morning. So they've got a small little city set up there at Milo, and they're going about putting the fire out. So I'm encouraged by the work they're doing. There was and is, but the initial when it first took off, there was an opportunity to lose a bunch of homes up in the Drew area and pretty much all the homes that are currently in the fire area without the great work of these firefighters. Many of those fire departments I just read off are volunteer fire departments. And again, Chief Bullock and his team showed up and they work as a unified team. And it's pretty amazing to stand back and watch that, all these people from different parts of our county come and respond, outside of their protection area. They just show up and do the work. And congratulations on the work that's been done so far. We're early in the fire season. My sense is there's a lot of concern left out there. It's still pretty dry. It's been cool the last couple mornings, which can give a little false sense that fire season's over, but it certainly is not. So, Rob, I know you're here, and anybody else that's watching, thank you for all the great work. Sheriff, you and your team do amazing. So we'll stay after it, and I'll hopefully report next week that they've got it contained.
I had to jump in my airplane, fly to Lewiston, Idaho and back a couple times a week or so ago, and Oregon is on fire. There's no doubt. I heard a news report yesterday that said, I don't know if it's accurate, but it seems probably from what I've seen, that there's more acres burned this year so far in Oregon than any other year. And one trip, you don't just take off from Roseburg and head northeast because you can't. The smoke column is so thick and so high that you can't get through it or over it. You gotta fly all the way up the valley, the Willamette Valley, and cut over and essentially fly up the Columbia River in order to get over that way because of the number of fires that are burning in between.
So we'll start on the Columbia this morning. Hopefully we'll get around that, but there's a new fire start right on the porch. And I really want this to be about thanking the firefighters, and there's plenty of time to talk politics and forest management, but I hope people realize when they smell the smoke in the air and see the columns in the air, that's their public land burning up. That's their national forest and ONC lands that have been non-managed or mismanaged for the last 30 years. So I don't mean this, it sounds a little sarcastic, and maybe I mean a little bit sarcastic, but I hope people enjoy their national forest when they're breathing it, because that's what we're doing, and it doesn't have to be that way. We could remove that fuel load, industry would pay us to do it, the forest could be healthy again. We just have to have a federal government and a Congress that's willing to do it.
Any other comments? Meeting adjourned.